Hey guys, it's Mathil here once again, and today I'm going to do my first ever travel vlog, as I just then went to Twitchcon Europe in Rotterdam. Never been to one of those before, figured I'd catalogue the entire journey from Adelaide all the way to Singapore, to Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and then all the way back. I also flew business class because I basically fucking had to, otherwise I would die, given my previous travel experiences, and I'll go over that during the video. And I also wanted to show you what that's like as well. So hopefully there's a bit of something for everyone in this video, as it's going to be some Australia, some Singapore, some business class, and I'll try and go over everything throughout the journey, and I'll put in timestamps for that sort of shit that you want to skip. So let's get straight into it. This is me starting out in Adelaide at something like 6 a.m. Adelaide Airport. It's in a city of like 2 million people or so. It's not the biggest airport. It recently got a bit refurbished and revamped and is made a bit nicer. As you can see, there's some fucking art just out the front. Cool. This is inside the airport, already pretty busy on like 6 a.m. on a Wednesday, and we just got in, about to start our journey. There is the premium screening lane to get in through the airport, and that means that business class ticket holders can just walk straight through, basically, the line. You still have to do the same shit. Other than that, we get through, and then you can see there's a whole bunch of shops, there's some pubs, there's some shit you can buy, you know. As you're leaving Australia, buy a fucking koala or a kangaroo, a shirt that says, no fucking worries, all that sort of stuff, the usual Australia crap. We do sell a lot of like gin and wine, that sort of stuff, just before people leave. We typically want to go in and film, wait, no, stupid fucking mistakes, we don't want to film the toilet. We instead have a look at the rest of the airport. There isn't too much to show, just a few restaurants. You got some wine bars, you got some nice places to sit and eat. It's clean, it's relatively new. We then go through the international customs area, so you basically have to, premium screening lane once again, don't have to wait in line. Straight into the lounge. There's a lounge that you can go check out if you fly business, which just means you sit away from the rest of the masses in a bit nicer of an area, and there's some food and drinks on offer. Depends on how nice the airport is as to how nice the lounge will be. Usually it's something at least like this, where there's some okay drinks, some okay food on offer, and hopefully somewhere a bit quiet to sit with a nice enough view. They'll make you some coffee, they'll pour you some drinks, all that sort of stuff, which is a nice thing if you've got a few hours to spend at an airport. We then go over to the boarding gate, and this is what the Adelaide Airport sort of runway and stuff looks like. Nothing major. We are a pretty small airport still, no massive like connecting flights through it, not like a Melbourne or Sydney. So it's, just a few races here or there. Other than that, we're onto the plane, and you fire off some business class, you get a little menu, you get an amenity kit, which has just, like some lip balm and shit in it. You can open your menu. There's usually multiple choices for what you can eat for lunch and dinner. If it's a long flight, you get served several meals. You get to choose from several different meals every time. You will have like several choices of wines and champagnes and all kinds of drinks. And it's up to you how plastered you want to get. For me, usually fairly plastered. And then this is what the leaving Adelaide situation looks like. It's a nice little town. It's still a city, 2 million people. It's getting big, it's getting relevant enough, but still nothing major. And always nice to fly over and have a look at the coastline. Pretty much all of Australian cities are along the coastline, so whenever you're going to be leaving a city from Australia, you're going to be seeing the nice fresh-ass coastline. And it's kind of winter here at the moment, so we are leaving to nicer, greener pastures in Singapore and in Europe. And about the business thing, it costs about $11,500 for the ticket, and for this specific thing, because I booked fairly late in advance, and this is like some of the meals I got, and I basically had to, because I just wouldn't justify going economy the way I nearly freaking felt like I died flying in to Los Angeles recently. You get a little cabin to yourself, so you can actually stretch it out. You can usually lay down and sleep well enough. It's a much nicer experience than economy for sure. It's extremely more expensive, but it is a it's worth it if you can afford it. Honestly, it'll make the whole trip, like the flight and everything, a part of the trip as opposed to a nuisance on the way there. And then this is the view flying into Singapore. Shitload of boats out there. Don't know what's going on. Is how it is. We then enter all that is Singapore Airport, and holy shit, are you talking about airports? Now, I should mention that was a 6-hour flight. The next flight to Amsterdam from Singapore is 13 hours. So 6 hours, 13 hours, and then 13 hours, 6 hours back. This airport is huge. It's got like 4 massive terminals. It's got every shop under the sun, 2 fucking giant Louis Vuitton stores, like literally 1,000 stores, I think, something like that, with all high-end shit and a lot to see and do there. But if that's not enough, you can step outside like this connecting tunnel. Just you'd have to do the whole immigration, or just step outside showing your passport sort of thing. And just outside is the Jewel, or that's what it's called, little train. And the Jewel itself is just a big sort of shopping center, department store style thing with a giant water feature in the middle. And it is classy as fuck. It is very nice to see. You can easily spend a good few hours in the airport and also in the Jewel. If you're doing a Singapore layover, no problem whatsoever. Walk around the airport, walk around the Jewel, experience what it has to offer, and it's pretty fucking cool. This is definitely the best airport I've had the sort of pleasure of stopping off in and walking around in, though this area is no longer officially inside the airport. It's just kind of adjacent. It's its own thing, but it is built attached to the airport, and for all intents and purposes, basically an airport functional thing, right? So take a quick selfie. Everyone there's taking all kinds of photos and selfies, and I don't know if you guys have the same sort of thing in your cultures, but in my culture, in Western white sort of areas, it's not too common that people care about taking photos, and it feels a bit, narcissistic, right? Around the Asian places, no one gives a fuck. Everyone's there to take a selfie. Everyone's there to catalog their own experiences, trying to make themselves look good, all that sort of shit. So you will have people just non-stop taking photos and setting up photos, and especially for this cooler looking shit, right? You got to have the photos. You got to have the memories. It's worth doing. Don't be too stubborn and go, ooh, I'm not that selfie kind of guy. It's nice to have your own photos to look back on of the nicer things you go out and see there. And this one, it's pretty spectacular to see. Like, big water feature, nice flashy lights, and a lot of people enjoying the scenery. So all the way around this entire water feature thing is like, big dome building that has lots and lots and lots of shops. We're talking like 1,000 shops and restaurants and bars, and you can sit up top and overlook this thing and have some beers, all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of different lounges in the Singapore airport. This one is for Singapore Airlines, and it's got some pretty next level shit. There's a lot of food stores. There's a lot of different types of food that you can get, cuisines and instant and warm meals. A lot of different cool shit, a lot of different drinks, and it's a huge spread out space. Toilets are insane. You can have showers. There's thousands of fucking toilets. It's a really cool place, and definitely makes the business ticket a bit more worthwhile. That's just what I got to settle down with before I get onto the flight. So next thing you know, we're on the flight, 12 and a half hours, something like that. Maybe it's even 13, I can't remember. Too much brain damage. And that's what the situation looks like, just for a better view of the seat and little sort of compartment you get to yourself. There's all the food that you can choose from. So since it's a long flight like this, you typically get served like breakfast and lunch, or lunch and dinner. Whatever the timetable is going to be like, you choose from one of those things. They bring it out to you pretty much after takeoff, and then somewhere halfway through the flight, they'll probably bring you out the next meal. But there'll be several courses. There'll be lots of drinks, as many as you want, as hammered as you want to get. Like I said, as usual, pretty sufficiently hammered. Given we want to watch a few movies, maybe sleep a bit, and take advantage of trying some different wines and stuff. That's us flying out of Singapore, and lots of pretty lights, and it's pretty, midnight at that time, I think, so we're leaving at around 11 or midnight, settling in for a 13-hour banger, Got some, I don't even remember what this was, smoked salmon or something, and I was watching some Japanese toilet cleaning movie. I think it was called Perfect Days. Very low-key movie. Yep, there it is still. About a dude just enjoying his life as a guy that cleans toilets and having a pretty simple life. Not too bad. Very slow, but won't be for everyone. But it was enjoyable enough. See a bit of Japanese sort of day-to-day life on a lower end. Anyway, then flying over Netherlands at this point, I think. Just seeing some green. Yep, that'll happen. Pretty much almost Amsterdam, still some kind of Netherlands action, I think. Just about to land. And I think right about here is where we're about to fly into Amsterdam itself. Still kind of had no idea what I was looking at, but I'm like, yeah, this is probably in Amsterdam. Looks convoluted, and that sounds about right. So we are going to Amsterdam for a night, and then to Rotterdam for the actual TwitchCon itself. So then we landed in Amsterdam, and what a fucking shit show. Took an hour to get into, we were just sitting in our airplane for an hour waiting to get into our slot, and then an hour to get through the customs line because there was so many goddamn people. So 2 hours later, we're in the center of Amsterdam. Met up with Scrafster, one of moderator's longtime supporters from chat, and he's a local. Took me through the fucking train to the central station, and then this is basically central station and just outside in central Amsterdam, and there is just non-stop this type of shit all over Amsterdam. It is like huge ass old school buildings, and it's pretty crazy. It's yeah, quite a sight to see. There's a lot of stuff to look at, a lot of stuff to take photos at, a lot of cheese shops with cheese wheels and tourist shit you can buy. There's thousands of people walking all over the streets, packed to shit usually. We're in a bit of a quieter place here. We grabbed a coffee at a cafe and just chilled. So the first day I came in, it was like 30 degrees Celsius. It was actually pretty damn warm. Already walked around a bunch more, sat down, grabbed a beer as well, and then moved on to the climbing gym. The climbing gym was the next center of our attention. And I guess I don't have this one in landscape. I just took this video for Instagram and Twitter, I think, and I guess I forgot to do it in landscape. I pretty much was trying to film as much of everything I saw as I could twice, unfortunately. Like I was being kind of an ultra dickhead, walking around trying to film everything at least once in case I wanted to put it on Instagram and Twitter, keep people updated with what I'm doing. And then another time, landscape mode for, this video. So not everything got done that way. In this case, yep, this gym, I think I didn't walk through it twice with a camera just looking like an asshole for a whole minute. But it's a pretty big gym. This is Beast Bouldering in Amsterdam. Big training area. I was pretty fucking jealous of the training area itself. The gym itself, pretty big, but the grades were mostly fairly soft. There was only like one hard proper grade that I could really sink my teeth into, but it's still very fun to climb around and climb with Scrafster on that one. This is on the other side of Amsterdam Central, not a side of Amsterdam I remember really seeing personally, or many people may have seen. Big watery front, and then just more Amsterdam as we're walking through it. And this is like 11 p.m. at the time. And then we got to my hotel. I looked at a lot of hotels, picked a fairly swanky one because I thought it looked the most interesting. Ended up paying 1,000 Australian dollars for one night here, so it is pretty expensive. It's like 600 euros, but my God, is it something a bit different. I think it's called like the Christian Huygens room. The whole hotel is themed after like some scientists and shit, and apparently this house used to be used for like marble trading, and that's why they're trying to prominently feature marble throughout the area. But every single room is a bit different and like based around kind of a different scientist or something, and it's got some real old school vibes and cool shit in it. And they're pretty small rooms, but it's very cozy. The breakfast was an absolute highlight. You tick whatever you want for the breakfast. They bring it up for you in the morning. And yeah, couldn't say enough nice things about that. I think it was called The Nobleman. So yeah, pretty worth. Nice hotel. And then, pretty much the next day, ready to go. About to go to Rotterdam, because spend one night in Amsterdam, get on the trains. You can train at fucking everywhere in this place pretty easily. Pretty easy to figure out as well. and then I'm training to Rotterdam, which takes something like an hour. Yeah, then gonna settle in and go to TwitchCon. So yep, quick little train ride later, we are in Rotterdam. Quite less of an ancient city than Amsterdam because it was flattened like a pancake apparently through wars and stuff. So all of it was like rebuilt. But pretty cool city nonetheless. This is like the city hall at like 11 p.m. as well. At some evening, the Friday evening that we did a party and after party and stuff. Yeah, basically for the day I just did mostly nothing. Then did the TwitchCon partner party where I met some people, barely knew anyone there. Talked to, I don't know, almost no one, just a few people and met a few people. It was something pretty low key. Went to a big after party thing as well, which raged on till like 2 a.m. and that I got pretty sufficiently drunk and hungover at. So the very next day is when I went to TwitchCon like this. This is what it looks like. This is the out front. And that was the whole ordeal. It's my first ever TwitchCon. I had no idea what to expect. And I don't really know what I even felt, to be honest. As I was walking around it, I was like, yep, this is something. There's a whole bunch of gaming stands, a whole bunch of stalls that you can partake in for, extensions that are related to Twitch. It is basically a convention for streamers and streamer aspiring people to network, to look at games, to look at products, to look at extensions, to get free shit. It's, yeah, something like that. Then there are a lot of streamers and a lot of people that set up their own stalls that they sell stuff at, and artwork, and there's food stalls, and there's, meeting your community members and meeting your fans. So there is a lot to do in the end, but I'm really not sure what I expected, and I'm still not sure this is what I was really thinking would happen, but it was definitely something. It wasn't a waste of time. It was something to experience for at least one try, and I still would not mind experiencing a NA TwitchCon as well. The purpose of me going there was to also do a meet and greet and meet any EU fans that maybe hadn't caught me during New Zealand. And nope, they all caught me during New Zealand. There was not a lot going on there. That meet and greet queue was one of the saddest things I've ever had to go through. I had maybe 5 to 10 people. And I had like an hour time slot, so there was a good long while to just sit there and do nothing. And after about 5 minutes of doing nothing, I'm just like, yo, is it okay if I leave? They go, yeah, that's fine. And we went about our way and experienced the rest of the con and did other things. So yeah, lurked around the con, did as much as I could, talked to a bunch of people, went out for dinner that night by myself, just got some Japanese food, and then on the way to... What do we do? This is the Beast Bouldering Gym in Rotterdam. It's on the 9th story, somewhere near my hotel, somewhat central to the city still. And it's pretty sick. Like the view it had at the very top level, it's just a nice cafe with a bit of bouldering in the center. But it was a very cool gym just to visit for the cafe by itself, because it could give you a full view of the city. It could give you, quite a decent amount of bouldering and good training. It was a decent gym by itself, all that said. But yeah, you could go there for just a bit of a coffee. You could go there for a bit of a chat and get a nice, pretty chill place to hang out. I just filmed one little piece of bouldering throughout, I think, the entire trip. Maybe two pieces of bouldering for the Instagram. So yeah, similar to the other gym though, Beast Bouldering seems to have pretty soft grades overall, and then just like one difficult level of grade. At least for someone like me who above average, I'd say. But there's gyms out there that have several grades where I wouldn't be able to finish them. In this type of a gym, I can finish every grade, every climb in all the other grades pretty comfortably, and then there's one grade that's going to challenge me, and this is the one grade, and I couldn't do that one move of that one climb. Fun stuff, small climb, nothing too serious, and then took a sleep on the way back to Amsterdam now. So I spend one more day in Amsterdam, hang out with Scrapster a bit more again, meet another couple members from chat, and just have another night in Amsterdam to chill and decompress, I suppose. This is the hotel I stayed at, the Grand Krasner I don't know, something. It's like near the main square, and it's pretty damn snazzy. I really enjoyed this hotel. Very fancy stuff. This one was something like 300 or 400 euros, so still pretty expensive, but once again, worth its cost. And yeah, then went over to a bouldering gym on that last day. This one is Monk Bouldering Gym, once again with Scrafster. Checked out the whole place and climbed a little bit. And this type of gym did seem to have a bit more difficult grades to do. These teals are their hardest grade. I managed to send one of them, but even the like couple of grades below were pretty challenging as well. So there was a lot more to actually try in this gym, even though it was a bit of a smaller gym, but it was still pretty damn worth checking out. Most of the teals were fairly approachable. They did also have like some competition routes at the time, which were the yellows on that quick walkthrough I walked through a second ago, and those were very hard. Like I couldn't do most of any of those moves, so they were proper like V11s or something for anyone that can speak climbing. This was a pretty hard one to finish for me. It took me a good few goes and then just, wedged myself in that last bit. And then, yeah, that was basically it for the day. Scrafster, Tycho from chat as well, another guy from chat. We just hung out. We had dinner, some drinks, and then, that's my friend's wife, Catherine. Hang out with Bryce and Catherine. You guys may have seen them before. From like ExileCon stuff, hung out for a bit, had dinners and drinks and whatever, and just stayed out till pretty late and enjoyed the kind of nightlife of Rotterdam and Amsterdam for the last night, and went till like midnight just to watch some of the soccer that was on as well, and keep it going for as long as possible. I had a flight at 6 a.m. Alright, it was at like 11 a.m. I had to be up at 6 a.m. So this is already the next morning, and it was raining. First day it was actually raining while I was there, and it changed the scenery a bit, It made Amsterdam kind of a bit different and a bit, well, while no one else is up and no one else is around, it actually made it feel a little bit special. So yeah, this is like 6 or 7 a.m. 7 a.m. maybe on like, Tuesday. So there's almost no one there. And it felt pretty cool. The airport itself and the train station, pretty busy. This is the lounge area, which does have some okay stuff to check out. But for the most part, the shit show basically started while I was in Amsterdam airport. The lounge wasn't very impressive. It had like 2 toilets for fucking 200 people. You could see queues for certain terminals and areas that people were going in, hundreds of people deep that were going to take hours long to get through passport customs and stuff. This is me on the old fucking business, chilling, thinking I'm just, flying high. Why not? Everything's going great. Had a bit of food, had, a little bit of champagne here or there. And on the way home, not feeling too bad. Probably the most basic dinner or, meal I'd almost ever had up to that point. And then 12 hours later, I am desperately looking for a hotel room because, well, look, I don't know. I ran out of footage to show because I basically took almost no other footage on the way home because, so I'll talk over what was just the return flight to Adelaide. I took a bit of footage of just flying in on the sunrise. Basically, 2 hours into my 13-hour flight from Amsterdam to Singapore, I got hit with what we think is norovirus, which was going around during Twitchcon, supposedly. I thought it was just food poisoning, felt like pretty standard food poisoning. I started to get, like chills, fever, and felt really nauseous, and then had to run to the bathroom about every 15 minutes for 6 to 8 hours on that flight, having some nice projectiles out both ends. And it was pretty unpleasant. We're talking heavy nausea, we're talking headaches, we're talking every 15 minutes to the bathroom, drinking lots of water, throwing up till I've got absolutely nothing going through my system anymore, and still feeling pretty terrible. And so I landed in Singapore, and I had a 12-hour layover in Singapore. I was planning to hopefully check out some of Singapore. That did not get to happen. What instead happened is I tried to find a day stay hotel as desperately as possible somewhere around the airport or in the Jewel department store, and finally found somewhere, paid $300 just so I could lay the fuck down because I was feeling so terrible. Slept for like 6 to 8 hours, something like that, while, you know, still needing to bathroom it up occasionally. And then the flight home, and then here is our little flight home. Hopefully by that point feeling better. Hadn't eaten anything for like 30 or 40 hours by that point, and just still feeling pretty terrible. So the flight back was the entire trip back was a horrible experience. I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemies. Ended up surviving, got home, slept the entire day, still ate basically nothing. And then started to eat a bit of food. And at this point, I'm filming the video. I'm not feeling too bad anymore. Just started to put some food back and feeling a bit okay. On the recovery, on the mend, back in Australia. Love my home. Don't think I want to travel anywhere for a little while. But I still want to do some things. It's so fucking scary when you're this potentially prone to dying every single time you travel. I don't know what else to say. Travel doesn't like me. I kind of like travel, but I still like being at home as well. All that said, that's my travel vlog for Twitchcon 2024, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Europe, all that shit. First one ever. Maybe I'll still do an NA one when I, summon up the balls to fly again, for that long anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it was something. Give me some feedback if you want to see one of these ever again, if I should have done something better. I took as many videos as I could. This is all there was to it. I still feel like I rushed through it as much as I could. There it is. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and see you guys next time.